All righty. So thank you guys, everyone, for being here, supporting me, for just jumping on, listening in, uh, uh, being a good friend. I do want to thank everyone who's been on this journey with me, especially my mom, my daughter, my husband. They've been great supporters. I do also want to share, I forgot I didn't prepare it, but I wanted to share a little bit about my background, as I always do in these workshops, um, just so that you guys can uh, understand and know that I'm in this with you. So basically, in 2011, I had, what most people call a spiritual awakening. You know, God just really moved in my heart and made me see. He showed me that, I just wasn't living right um, towards Him, and He gave me the power and strength to walk with Him. In 2012, I began a journey of sobriety, all God. And in that process, it also became a healing process for me. I dealt with a lot of trauma in my life through counseling, one-on-one counseling. Um, can't think of the word, but it's like group therapy, or it's not. That's not the right word, but it was like done in groups other than recovery groups, but it was, can't think of the word. Um, but it is, like a group therapeutic thing. And during that journey, I was surrounded by a lot of other people that were on that same path, basically uh, looking to heal, seeking truth, um, finding ways to be better for themselves, for their families, for God. And in that journey, uh, I just sharing with a friend, I just wasn't feeling well. I was experiencing chronic fatigue, a lot of, pain. And I went to my doctor and had like blood screening and like, doctor, what's wrong with me? And I was diagnosed as being malnourished. And that really blew my mind. But the great thing was that I had a lot of friends that were ahead of me, in this area with nutrition and a lot of holistic um, uh, ways of living and dealing with things. Um, so a year ago, yeah, it was a year ago. I was just experiencing some frustration in my job, and I came to a point where I was like, I don't want to work anymore. I want to do something that I'm passionate about, something that doesn't feel like work, and I had a great friend that was taking a class, but another friend, God, it's so good. Another friend pointed it out, like, hey, you should talk to so and so, and she was already taking the course and had experiencing her own, I say, healing crisis. And I just I stepped out in faith, and I enrolled into a school called Pure Vitality University. They're in Douglasville, Georgia, and I did an online course. And wanted to show you guys that I just received it in the mail. I received my certification. It's dated in March, so it's official. And also wanted to share with you guys my goals, which is to be board certified with the American Association of Drugless Doctors. I'm gonna be working. I'm also working on a supplement partnership where I can be able to recommend quality supplements, vitamins, minerals, and things that I believe are gonna, help you get to where you want to be, where where you need to be. So now I'm just gonna pretty much do a recap on the previous classes, um, because I want to always tie in the whole picture, for everyone. So the first class, was based on what is the holistic approach, what is holistic health, and we covered the principles, which is that the body can heal itself. So this is basically part of uh, what God did for us. He created a perfect body with perfect functions in place to heal ourselves. This is not any type of mystical or new age theology or anything. But the more I learn and the more you learn, you'll see that that there's checks and balances in place in our bodies, and we're going to talk about that in today's class. Um, but also one of the holistic principles is to identify and support natural healing. Um, Doctor as teacher. So I am not a doctor, but the word doctor has its origins. It's a Latin word, and the origin of that word is teacher. So that's what I'm doing here, and that's what I'm passionate about, is teaching, helping others, educating us. The more we know, or the better we do, or like they say, we do better when we know better. Um, and then the last principle is to heal the whole person. So the idea is always going to be the full picture, the whole person. Now, the class, the next class, the second class that I gave was on food and nutrition. Um, and the main, one of the topics was why food is the foundation. And you're gonna start hearing me interchange, instead of using the word food, I'm gonna just replace it with nutrition, because nowadays food can mean a lot of things, and unfortunately, the American food system is not really food. So you're gonna be hearing me focus more on nutrition. The other pointer was the problem. Like, what is the problem? And the problem in our, food system is nutrient deficiencies. There's just not, our soil is depleted of nutrients. Um, Ever since electricity, uh, we don't burn wood to cook our food anymore. Minerals come from things like that, natural water sources. Unfortunately, the more advanced we get, the more modern we get, we start to lose a lot of the natural things that we have provided for us, that sustains us. And then again, the American diet. The American diet now is full of gluten-rich foods, a lot of fried foods, and a lot of junk. And then the third class, I couldn't fit everything in that I wanted to, and in the first class, so I did a part two for food and nutrition. We talked about food as medicine. We talked about how it creates cells and tissues, nutrition, and it's necessary to regulate the body's functions. We talked about whole foods. We talked about bone broths, fermented foods. We talked about how important it is to read all labels, and that is going to be huge for this class as well to understand. We need to be in the know. We need to know what we're putting in our bodies, what we're putting on our skin. We need to make conscious decisions. And then we also talked about supplementing. Again, because of the lack of nutrition and all of the deficiencies in our soil and in our food, we need to supplement. So we need to add these things in to be able to, live vibrant lives. Uh, the fourth class was on, this one is really dear to my heart. If you guys weren't here, please ask me how I can get you guys a copy to it. But it was on how our emotions and mindset affect our bodies. And I shared, a lot about some amazing doctors that have been studying for over 40, 50 years, who have done written in medical journals, have published books, and unfortunately, I say this, I keep saying it's unfortunate because a lot of this information is not mainstream. And what is mainstream is what's not good for us, and that has a lot to do with the system in place, and money, and power, what's going to get pushed out there, and again, unfortunately, it's the bad stuff. Um, so we talked about the connection between heart disease and hidden emotional factors. We discussed, I have to break this word down, it's so hard to pronounce, psychoneuroimmunology. Look it up. If not, you can check out the class. We talked about how psychiatric health impacts our immune system. Um, and uh, and yeah, that's it. And then because again, the holistic approach is to, looking at the whole picture, our mind, our body, our environment. Um, now this brings me to toxins, so toxins, foreign objects, agents. And the first thing that I want to, of course, discuss is what is a toxin. We hear that word a lot, and I'm not gonna get too much into like detoxing and things of that, but what helps me to understand uh, is the background, and we don't have to like know this for fun, but a lot of these things that I'm gonna share, they will stick with you. So toxins comes from the original word tox, which is poison. And it can enter our bodies in three ways. We can breathe them, we can eat or drink them, so through our mouth or nose, or through the skin. And, it's basically something that enters into our bodies that cannot be incorporated and that our body has to get rid of. The opposite of toxins, because this helps me understand too, knowing what it is and maybe what it isn't. So the opposite of a toxin is nutrients, oxygen, water. And our natural defense to toxins is to get them out, to get rid of them. If these things are not removed, then what's going to happen is that they're going to accumulate. So our body has an amazing natural detox system. Our body is a detox machine. So the organs that provide this detox is the liver, our kidneys, our lungs, and our skin. And the best way to detox is to be healthy. So, what is that? Being healthy, and that's just for this class, is not to put toxins in our bodies, not to put bring them into our homes, not to put them in, in the things that we eat. And just to touch back on how our body detoxes, we talked about the actual organs, but our body detoxes through moving our bowels, going to the bathroom, breathing correctly, and eating whole foods, mostly organic. Um, and again, a lot of this information is going to be generalized because there's no way to impact it all in one class. But if you look at previous classes, I do go further into certain things, and you can always contact me for more information. Phone call, hey, what did you mean about this? What did you mean about that? How can I do this? I'm here. So fiber-rich foods are gonna help us, to move our bowels. Bone broth is going to help our body to heal, our stomach, our intestines. Cruciferous vegetables, Examples are cauliflower, kale, turnips, broccoli, leafy greens, arugula. These are uh, things that promote detoxification, which is removing toxins, from our bodies. Intermediate fasting. Man, I just recently started learning about intermediate fasting. It's amazing. We've been, tricked into the 3 meal per day idea, and there's so much with intermediate fasting that we can take advantage of, and it doesn't mean that we have to fast all day. There's so many different types of fastings that we can do, but the intermediate fasting basically is just uh, eating once or twice a day, a good meal, but fasting for 10, 12, 14, even sometimes 16 hours. So if you add how many hours you sleep, you can just add a couple of hours in the morning and then start your day at, say, 12 o'clock, your first meal. Well, not adding the hours you sleep, incorporating the last meal you ate, dinner. Um, so let's see. So, again, what we don't eliminate, we accumulate. So I'm not a fan of promoting detoxes. And number one reason is because we naturally detox. Um, I am a fan of promoting of how you can support your body to naturally detox. And the second reason why I'm, not going to promote detox is because most of us are too unhealthy to detox. Um, what happens is when we say do something to detox, we are also getting rid of the good things. That makes sense? So when you detox, you can't say, oh, just eliminate the bad things. No, we're also eliminating the good things in our bodies. So that's why my suggestion is to do it under a care or guidance of a practitioner, someone who knows about this, and to really start in the beginning. And this is basically the way I'm setting up the classes, starting with what is holistic health. If we have an understanding of what holistic health is, then we can begin that journey. We can take that approach. And then if we start with the foundation, which is nutrition, what we're putting into our bodies, that's getting us ready and to be able to um, walk, become that healthy person. So stay with me here, because I'm going to talk about what happens to our bodies when we are sick. So when we are sick, one of the first things that happens is we lose our appetite. You ever get sick and you're like, oh, I can't eat. There's you don't even want to think of food. And if you do think of food, you're like kind of recoiled, like, oh no way, I can't eat anything. Um, we may have a fever. Our body begins to sweat. Um, we all we want to do is sleep. So this is not even something that we desire. Our body goes into immediate healing crisis to get rid of whatever it is that is attacking our body. It could be a virus, it could be bacteria. And this is what we call a healing event or healing crisis. So the next time you, let's say, get sick, catch a cold or are experiencing any of these symptoms, you may not want to say I'm sick. You may want to think of it as my body is healing. Your body is basically fighting for you, and what's happening behind the scenes is that our white blood cells increase. Give me 1 second. My dog is whining a bit outside. Our white blood cells increase because it's trying to destroy bacteria and viruses that are in our bodies. This is why when we get blood work, when we're sick, the doctors are going to see that. So, I'm not saying that detoxing or detoxes are can hurt us, or can't benefit us. They absolutely can, but there is a process. I don't want anyone jumping out of this class like, oh, I need to detox, and because there's a lot of fad detoxes out there. Um, so again, you want to do it under a guidance of someone who knows, what they're doing, what they're talking about, or if you have yourself well researched it. Um, because even me, that I've been in school and I've been on this journey for over 10 years. I did a cleansing with it was I think it was a celery cleansing. And I was just reaching for the stars, going for 2 days without eating and just on the celery cleanse. And of course, my body took a hit. The next day I was completely depleted, had no energy. I had to, stay in bed. So it was almost as if my body was telling me, like, okay, you did this major cleansing in your body, which is great, but now you need to rest. So, next time we could maybe I could go at it a different way, of course, after I was able to understand more. Um, so the thing about toxins is that they take time to build up in our bodies. Um, and how they can show up are through things like allergies, frequent infections. Give me one second. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, through frequent infections, um, several colds within a year, not being able to sleep well, chronic fatigue. Those are just a few. Um, because what they do, how they affect us is in two ways. They block key receptor sites in our cells, which it prohibits the ability for us to metabolize energy. And I know that I'm throwing a lot of big, words out here, and it's okay because I'm gonna break it down simple terms. Think of it. Think of a vehicle. So think of a car that has a lot of miles and has never changed. You've never changed the oil and you've never changed the filters. There's air filters, cabin filters, if I can remember. So the vehicle is burning fuel because you need gasoline, of course. It's burning fuel, but eventually will not have any power because you need to change the filters. You need to change the oil. It needs to be cleansed. It needs to be, I'm going to use the word detox. Um, and then the second way that it interferes is with our immune system. Our immune system is our defense system. Our immune system is what helps fight. It's the first, uh, the line of defense for viruses and bacteria when it enters through our nose and it enters through our mouth. So our immune system can either become depressed immune, which means, which is going to show up that you're susceptible to colds, infections, or we can have a hyperactive immune system, which will show up as things as asthma, allergies, and attacks our own cells, which now we call it autoimmune diseases. Now, the medical system, has done great things, you know, uh, for us, but they're not focused on prevention. And much of what I'm saying here, a lot of the things may be foreign to you because you yourself may experience a lot of these things and you've never heard of toxins. What does toxins have to do with this or that? But that's because, again, this information is not mainstream information. You know, um, I mean, you may find a doctor that will sit down and ask you things about what are you eating? Did you recently move into a new home? Have there been any major emotional stressors in your life? Things like that they want to get the whole picture. But the holistic health approach is going to look at the whole picture. Um, Another thing I didn't mention was mold. We could be experiencing mold uh, toxins. So I do want to be sensitive, um, but I also want to bring truth, and that is my passion, to bring truth and to educate you. So the CDC has tracked that the average person has over 200 toxins in their blood. And even babies are now being born with toxins. Um, Now, this it sounds depressing, but what can we do? How can we reduce our toxic exposure? Because we always want to get and stay in the solution. Um, we can, again, start with nutrition. Eat our organic foods whenever possible. And uh, not everything has to be organic. Uh, if you think of it this way, anything uh, that we eat without peeling should be organic. So, example, a strawberry, a grape, unless you peel your grapes, a banana, we don't need that, doesn't need to be organic, because what happens, the reason for organic recommendations are because crops are sprayed with pesticides. So if it's something that does not have to be peeled, then it has experience is it's exposed to pesticides if it's not, again, organic. We can also get rid of plastic containers, Tupperwares. One, can be very expensive, but one idea is to reuse. So if you ever bought like a glass jar of spaghetti, you can wash it out, boil it, and you can save it and reuse it. Stainless steel. Another great recommendation is to let's start getting rid of these plastic water bottles. I'm not saying plastic water bottles don't serve a purpose. I live in Florida, so they absolutely do serve a purpose in the event that there's a hurricane. I want to stock plastic bottles, but we want to use things such as now the stainless steel to store our water. We can filter our water through a filtration system. We can buy the jugs, or we can put it on our sinks at home. Nowadays, the refrigerators come with the filtered water option. You can just change your filters. We want to also try to find natural cosmetics. There's a great app that I use, and I have my family using it. It's called the Yuka app. This is the icon here. I don't know if you're not gonna be able to see it, but it's Yuka, Yuka. There's a lot of other apps where you can scan an item. It can be a food or a cosmetic product to see if it has any parabens, phthalates, things that are harmful for us. Household products. There's a lot of great household products now, natural products. So, we don't want to bring them into our homes because uh, uh, when we clean our floors, we're breathing that air in. So if we're using toxic products, which we've all used, I'm sure, bleach on our clothes, there's natural resources. And I can provide a lot of natural resources for you. I can send you by email. But we can use safe things like borax, oxy powder, if I'm saying it right, instead of bleach, and it whitens your clothes. It works. We can also get outside more, breathe fresh air, practice proper breathing throughout the day. Um, we can buy air filtration systems. We can buy the expensive ones. We can buy inexpensive ones. Um, but again, if you're interested in more information, I can send you. I have a lot of things ready, resources that I can send by email, or you can learn about non-toxic products, DIY recipes for household products. But another thing I do always like saying this in my classes is let's never stop learning. Let's never stop fellowshipping with one another. Let's not give up on ourselves. Let's not give up on God. And let's try to find ways together to live as healthy as we can be as a community. And again, I'm here to help you. I'm here to teach you everything that I'm learning. And I hope you guys got a lot out of the class. And again, I'm here to help you. So I'm going to stop the recording here and just open it up for sharing with you guys.